Hello wrestling fans, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about dream matches that most likely are probably never ever going to happen. Either these matches are pretty much 100% never going to happen, or maybe there could be a slight chance of these ever happening if certain situations actually met. If certain requirements were actually met. And by the way, I want to let you all know this is just only going to be me talking about women's division. So if you're going to be hoping there's going to be men dream matches, I am not going to be doing that. This is just going to be solely just women's wrestlers. And if you really like this video, maybe I will consider doing a male competitors dream match as well. So here we go. The first women's match on this dream list that I know for a fact will never happen under any circumstances, that being Kelly Kelly versus AJ Lee. Now these two were together in the company at this. Now they were both in the company together in 2011 during Kelly Kelly's Divas title range. They were together during that period. Yes, they were on the same roster, but they never came in contact with each other. They never versed each other in a one-on-one match. It was just either they were together in a tag team match, but they've never fought each other, never wrestled each other. They both may have been in the company at the same time, but they've never ever once put the two of them against each other. And I can certainly say this match would have been interesting if these two did indeed fight each other. Now, how would the circumstance have to happen if these two would either face each other? Well, since Kelly Kelly is a beloved babyface, the possible best time for these two to possibly fight each other would have been in the middle of AJ Lee's historic reign as Divas Champion. They could have had Kelly Kelly come back in a one-off agreement where they give her like a one-off pay-per-view match as a dream match scenario. But yeah, these two never fought each other, and I think it's a real darn shame that these two will never ever get to fight each other. Because I think AJ Lee versus Kelly Kelly could have been an interesting match. And I hope you're used to hearing these two names, because you'll probably be hearing them quite a lot in this video. So if you don't like me rehashing names, rehashing people over and over and over again, then, well, you're not going to enjoy this video. Well, there's going to be one other dream match that I'm going to be talking about on this list that will not concern them. And that is the Bella Twins, Nikki and Brie versus the Iconics. Funny enough, this was about to happen. This dream match, at one point, was going to happen. I remember I think it might have been Peyton Royce, I can't remember, but it was either the Iconics on their little podcast, on Peyton's little podcast. She mentioned how they originally were going to, when they became tag team champions, they were originally going to feud with the Bella Twins, and it was going to run until SummerSlam, I think I heard them say. I heard them say that it was going to run until SummerSlam. Imagine that! The Iconics and the Bellas were going to be feuding with each other from after WrestleMania to all the way to SummerSlam. Like, a possible 4-month rivalry between the two. Now, I look at this as a dream feud. I think the Bellas and the Iconics really wanted to fight each other, and I think it's a real shame that these two never really got a chance to fight each other, and the only reason why they couldn't fight each other was because of Nikki Bella's past with injuries, but yet they still allowed her in the ring against Ronda Rousey. Yeah, they wouldn't let Nikki Bella fight the Iconics because of her past history with injury, past history with her neck problems. But yeah, but sure, let's put her in the ring with Ronda Rousey at Evolution. No, the Iconics versus the Bella Twins was the perfect time for them to do that match. at the Evolution pay-per-view when the Bella Twins were able to come back, and it's a real darn shame that these two never got a chance to fight each other. Another dream match that shockingly never happened, and I don't think it ever happened in NXT, and I know it never happened on the main roster, that being Alexa Bliss versus Emma. Now, you could correct me and say, yeah, they probably did wrestle each other. I don't think that, I know for a fact these two never versed each other. Now, technically, they did technically wrestle each other in a tag match. I know someone's going to mention that, well, actually, yeah, these two did fight each other. It was in a tag match where Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks had to team up against Emma and Nia Jax. That's a tag match, though. That's a tag team match, though. And yes, Emma and Alexa Bliss technically collided against each other at that No Mercy event when Emma got a title shot when Alexa was champion. But I'm more saying in a one-on-one environment. I'm more saying in a one-on-one environment, these two never, ever fought each other in a one-on-one environment. And I think it could have been interesting if they did have these two fight each other in a one-on-one situation. So this one's a bit of a toss-up. This one's a bit of a toss-up. You could say this technically happened. If you want to count the tag team match, then that's perfectly fine. If you want to count that fatal five-way they had at No Mercy, and they were both in the same match, yeah, okay. If you want to count those, that's fine. But in my opinion, they never fought each other in a one-on-one match. For me to really count it as a dream match, they have to be competing against each other in a one-on-one environment. And they never, ever, excuse me, fought each other in a one-on-one environment. And I think, in my opinion, that's a real shame. These two could have done some magic together. Well, and also the other big major problem is that both of them were always heels. That's the other reason why they never really fought each other. They were always heels. So, yeah, that can be the other reason why those two never fought each other. Another match that I think really should have happened but didn't was, obviously, again, I'm going to be going back to the main two of this particular video, AJ Lee and her versing Sasha Banks, and or Mercedes Moné, and we all know this was one of the biggest dream matches that people wanted to see. Now, people are going to say Mercedes Moné versus Trish Stratus, but in my opinion, I didn't really want to see that match. To me, that's a dream match I couldn't care too less about. Not because I never grew up in the Attitude Era, or I never grew up with Trish Stratus and all that. People are going to say that, oh, you didn't grow up with them, that's why you don't appreciate them. Oh, I do appreciate what they've done for the women's division, but it's just a match I never really wanted to see. It was just a match I never really wanted to see. So I think AJ Lee versus Sasha Banks, or Mercedes Moné, whatever the hell you want to call her now. Come on. The match writes itself. Two of the best women's wrestlers in the world, and two of the best women that can cut a promo. That, to me, that screams money. To me, that screams a lot of money, and to me, that screams a WrestleMania main event. The two of them could have torn their house down. There are also other people AJ Lee could have wrestled. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. I'm not including Bayley on this video because AJ Lee technically did wrestle Bayley. She technically did wrestle Bayley in NXT. If you don't believe me, go look it up. She did wrestle Bayley on NXT, so I'm not including Bayley in this discussion for those saying, oh, you forgot Bayley. No. AJ Lee did wrestle Bayley. Sasha Banks did technically say that she wrestled AJ Lee in her tryout match, so you could say, well, technically they wrestled each other because it was a tryout match. You're gonna count a tryout match as an actual match between these two? No. These two never fought each other in WWE. I am not counting this one tryout match that Mercedes had with AJ Lee as a technical match between the two. And it's a freaking tryout match. Tryout matches don't count. Tryout matches don't count. So yeah, AJ and Sasha Banks could have been really big. It could have been a really big major deal. Obviously, as I mentioned before, AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, man, those two could have had a great rivalry. The evil heel AJ Lee, the underdog Becky Lynch, and all that. Charlotte Flair and AJ Lee, they could have created magic as well. I think they could have really created magic. And I know some people may ask me, well, what about AJ Lee versus Alexa Bliss? Would that have been a match you would have wanted to see? Well, here's the thing. It's really tough for me to say. It's really tough for me to say, but if it was the Goddess Alexa Bliss versus AJ Lee, then I'd probably say yes. I'd probably say yes because the match would have been pretty good. But in my opinion, but yeah, AJ and Alexa are very similar. They're both small wrestlers. But ultimately, it's very difficult for me to see. It's very difficult. I think it could have been a dream match, but it's very hard for me to really say. Also, another dream match I'm surprised we never got. I actually understand why we never got. Is Kelly Kelly versus Naomi. Now, for those that don't have the knowledge, before NXT became the NXT we now know and love, when NXT was a lot different in the early days, and the early version of NXT was when they had a pro and a rookie. They had the pros and the rookies, and they would compete in competitions. Now, in the women's version, or the Diva, because they were called Divas back then, version of this NXT version, they had Kelly Kelly as the pro, and her rookie was Naomi, who ended up becoming a Funkadactyl for Brodus Clay. Now, the reason why I'm including these two is because they tagged up with each other once. They've tagged up with each other a few times in NXT when Kelly Kelly briefly wrestled in NXT, because they had nothing to do with her at the time. And I think the two of them fighting each other could have been interesting. Because, the mentor versus the student kind of match. I think a mentor versus student kind of match could have been really, really fun for Kelly Kelly and AJ, for Kelly Kelly and Naomi. Would have been really, really cool to see. Would have been really cool to see the young Naomi overcome the teacher. Beat the teacher in a really good match and all that. But overall, it's pretty unfortunate. We never really saw these two fight each other. And I know for a fact we will never see these two fight each other. Other people now, Kelly Kelly has talked about wanting to come back and wrestle again and possibly have matches against other women on the roster. She's talked about wanting to have a match with Charlotte Flair, which is a dream match on this list. Kelly Kelly versus Charlotte Flair. Kelly Kelly has said she's wanted to wrestle Charlotte Flair before, and in my personal opinion, this is probably the only match I'd be fine with Kelly Kelly coming out of retirement just to have a match with. There are not really other women I really want to see Kelly Kelly wrestle. Sure, there's Alexa maybe, Becky maybe, but in my honest opinion, the only one I really, really want to see Kelly Kelly wrestle is Charlotte Flair. In my opinion, Kelly Kelly wouldn't be able to hang with a lot of today's women's wrestlers, not because she's a shit wrestler and she wouldn't be able to hang with them. It'd be because she'd be so out of place in today's generation of women's wrestlers, though she has said she would be down for a full-time comeback. But personally, I'd be okay with just one match. That is Kelly Kelly wrestling Charlotte Flair. Now I'm going to be now instead of having two people from WWE fighting each other, I'm going to be pairing two people from two different companies here. How about Asuka versus Hikaru Shida, or however you say her name. Asuka versus Shida, or Io Sky versus Shida, or Kairi Sane versus Shida. Now, Shida is a good wrestler, and here's the thing. here's the thing. This is an interesting match. Those three matches are very, very interesting to me because if you had to say who'd be the better wrestler, I think a lot of people would say Io, Kairi, and Asuka would be better than Shida. But overall, I think this match could be interesting. I think the three of them, one of the three of them fighting Shida in one-on-one matches would be pretty interesting in my view. And I think there's a lot of potential there. Another dream match from two different promotions is the Bella Twins versus Anna Jay and Ty Mello. And I know most of you are probably groaning at me here thinking about this. But here's the thing. This match can technically happen. This dream match can technically happen if Nikki Bella decides to go wrestle in AEW along with Brie. That's the only real way I could see this match happening. I know some people can say, well, Anna Jay and Ty Mello could always come to WWE. We all know WWE's blacklisted the Bella Twins from WWE, so I can't really see this match happening in WWE. And I feel like the only way to really see these two wrestle each other is if the Bellas were to go off to AEW and maybe have a few matches there. Hell, Nikki Bella even at one point after Mercedes' debut, Nikki Bella even said that she almost thought about phoning Tony Khan and going to the company after Mercedes' debut. She was so inspired by Mercedes' debut, she almost felt like wanting to go there. So, even if it's not a tag match, Nikki Bella versus AJ, Nikki Bella versus, I've got AJ on my mind today, don't worry, I'm sorry. Nikki Bella versus Anna Jay as a singles match, as a whole, it's got great potential. It's got great potential because Anna Jay has said Nikki Bella is her hero, her inspiration of becoming a wrestler. So it writes itself. So that match writes itself, in my opinion. So I think that match has a lot of good potential. Other dream matches such as Kelly versus Emma. Hell, even AJ Lee versus Emma. I would have liked to see those two have a match with each other. I would have really liked to see those two have a match against each other, because man oh man, would have that been a real interesting one. Now, there are a few other dream matches I would have liked to see. Maybe Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus the Iconics. That could have been interesting. Well, hell, maybe even Indy Hartwell wrestling Billie Kay or Peyton Royce in a singles match. That would be really fun. There are several matches that I can think of. And I think the only real legend I'd be okay with AJ Lee wrestling would be Lita. Lita is the woman that inspired her to be a wrestler. So, overall, yeah, I think that's really the only legend I'd be okay with. And I know a lot of people are going to be saying Trish Stratus versus Alexa Bliss, Trish Stratus versus Sasha Banks, and something along those lines. I know people will probably mention those matches as well, but I'd kind of pass on those if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, that's really all I've got for this video. I know there are probably others I could probably mention. I know there's probably so many others I could probably talk about, other dream matches that I could possibly think of. But those are really all I could really think of off the top of my head. You guys let me know down below your potential dream matches on the women's division side. Which dream matches would you have liked to see on the women's side of things? Thank you all for watching, and if you guys did enjoy this, I may consider doing a men's one, but we'll see. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.